before I begin, just want to make this clear. This review will contain spoilers, so if you haven't seen the movie yet, don't listen to this review. But if you have, then sit back and enjoy. So, this is directed by James Cameron, who did The Terminator, Aliens, The Abyss, Terminator 2, True Lies, and Titanic. And Titanic came out 12 years ago, so it's been 12 years since his last movie. And Aliens and Terminator 2, those are two of my all-time favorite movies. Like, they would be in my top 10. So he is one of my favorite directors, and I was really psyched for this movie. And the trailer didn't really get me all that excited. I mean, it kind of looked like, the message was obvious, and it kind of looked like, just the battle of the Smurfs, and it didn't really excite me as much as it did kind of leave me not excited. So yeah, it didn't excite me that much. I mean, come on, it's a movie about these 10 feet tall blue people, and I just didn't like the way the Na'vi looked, but I wasn't going to be biased. I still saw it opening day, and simply put, this movie was fantastic. Now, granted, there were a few things I didn't like, and a few things I was disappointed by, but I'll get into that in a minute. First, let's talk about the good stuff, and I think the big thing here would be the effects. I mean, the visuals in this movie were groundbreaking, especially the 3D. A lot of times in movies that use 3D, it sort of comes off as a gimmick, but in this movie, I really liked how it was used to show you this world and immerse you in this environment. I mean, I felt like I was there. As for the Na'vi, they're the blue cat-looking people that I mentioned earlier. They didn't bother me. In fact, the facial expressions and body movements were captured perfectly. I mean, it's truly amazing how realistic they made these characters. And this world, Pandora, was just astonishing. It's like eye candy. You just can't get enough of it. So the visual aspect of this movie was perfect, and that alone is enough to see this film on the big screen. Unfortunately, that's the only really good thing about this movie. It's a spectacle, it's absolutely beautiful to look at, but when it comes to story and characters, that's where some of the problems start coming in. Now, if you've seen the film, you should know that Avatar isn't very original. It's basically Dances with Wolves meets Pocahontas, and even a few elements of Ferngully, if you can believe that. So, while at times predictable, the story isn't all that bad, and it being unoriginal doesn't hurt the film. Hell, even Star Wars wasn't that original. It's just that it didn't move me the way some of James Cameron's other films did. The story centers around ex-Marine Jake Sully, played by Sam Worthington, a paraplegic whose twin brother died in the Avatar program, which basically allows humans to connect their brainwaves to the Avatar bodies, which they were able to create using their DNA. So he's sent to take the place of his brother, and his job is to get the Na'vi to move out of their home tree, which sits on a large deposit of unobtainium. As the film progresses, Jake befriends them and is soon accepted as one of their own, and is pretty much caught in a dilemma. So when it comes down to the main story, it really isn't anything we haven't seen before. As for the characters, my favorite would have to be that over-the-top general played by Stephen Lang, who to some may come off as cartoonish, but I thought he was a pretty good bad guy. The acting overall was decent. Thought there could have been a little bit more character development, and I wish they had better dialogue. But despite its flaws, this is still better than most other recent science fiction movies, and I thought this was one of the best movies of 2009. And for a movie that's 2.5 hours long, I was never bored. I just sat there mesmerized for most of the entire film. It starts off relatively fast and keeps that momentum throughout the whole film. And I can't say enough how great the effects were in this movie. The Na'vi looked just like the actual actors. And when it comes to that big battle scene at the end, holy shit, is that one of the coolest, most badass, awesome, epic battle sequences ever. You got the military tearing up shit, and it really does get very heartfelt when they start tearing up the planet, and Zoe Saldana's character, especially, who gives a wonderful performance in this, has to have all this pain. You don't even get that out of some live actors. So yeah, that was very sad. The film is starting to seem a bit overrated. It's not the greatest movie ever, and I wouldn't say it revolutionized science fiction films as much as 2001: A Space Odyssey, or of course, Star Wars. but it's definitely in that category and gets an extremely high recommendation from me. I mean, if there's ever a movie that you gotta see on the big screen, it's this. You have to see this in IMAX 3D. That's the way I saw it, and goddamn did I have one hell of a good time.
You're not in Kansas anymore. You're on Pandora.
You should see your faces.
We have an indigenous population called the Na'vi. They are very hard to kill.
This is why we're here. Because this little gray rock sells for $20 million a kilo. Their village happens to be resting on the richest deposit, and they need to relocate. Those savages are threatening our whole operation. We're on the brink of war. We're supposed to be finding a diplomatic solution.
Looks like you. This is your avatar.
You forget what team you're playing for.
The strong prey on the weak, and nobody does a thing.
You've got 1 hour.
You knew this would happen?
Everything changed. Jake, it's crazy here. Horwich is rolling and there's no stopping him.
We're going up against gunships with bows and arrows.
I guess we better stop him.
They've sent us a message that they can take whatever they want. But we will send them a message that this